Welcome to the Empower Hour, another edition, weekly edition. My name is Al Kumar.
And I'm Hanifa.
And we're coming to you on an impromptu schedule today. We were scheduled to meet with Ron Moulton, and he's unable to attend. So last minute, we got word he's not going to be here. And so Hanifa and I had to wing it.
What?
So we're winging it this week. But I'm sure, like any other topic of discussion, this will be a lively one.
Yes.
We need your help with this one. Relationships 101, unresolved issues.
Yes.
Yeah, so here we are. If you're interested in calling in, the hotline number is 240-455-5934. We welcome your calls, and definitely share the information and subscribe to our YouTube channel, which is Miss Free the People, and that's MS, Free the People. Hanifa,
Oh, come on.
how you feeling?
Good. The weather is beautiful.
Beautiful.
Yes.
After all this rain, we had a whole week of nothing but wet
I know.
weather.
I know. I was like, when we get through this, it's going to be really hot.
And beautiful.
Yes, it was beautiful. And it's not, it's like 80-something degrees, but it don't really feel that way because there's like a little breeze.
Yeah.
So I'm like, let me enjoy this because when summer kick in, that humidity is something serious.
And I love the whole spring, the greenery, and the flowers blooming, and all that stuff. So I'm like, okay.
The energy that is spring.
Yes.
Is definitely, rejuvenating and completely. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so why did we choose, in the last 10 minutes, why did we choose this topic?
Well, you actually mentioned something. You mentioned, you mentioned around, I think it was specifically towards women, though. You was talking about.
Oh, yeah, there was this, because, I spend a lot of time on social media.
Yes.
I really do, too much time, really. And I came across this video of, I don't know if you saw it, this lady and her ex. And obviously they were co-parenting, and she had looked like twins, two little boys. They couldn't have been no more than about 3, 4 maybe. Mm-hmm. And the father was dropping them off, and so that they were near his car.
Oh yes. And
they got into a little
and her mom was there.
Her mom was there. They got into a little disagreement, and I have it on my page too if anybody is curious as to what I'm referring to.
Yes.
And I found that I find that is a common situation in our society. Yeah. And what else I found interesting about that whole ordeal, it was about an 8-minute video. And just for me, it was obvious for me that woman was just doing the most. Yeah. She was just doing way too much in front of them children. I think.
What was she upset about? Was she upset about the haircut?
The haircut.
I remember this.
He gave the children a haircut.
Okay.
And she said she was the custodial parent. He was to consult with her first, and she was upset that he didn't. But it just escalated,
He could have. What else did she do though?
She wouldn't let him leave. Because she had the children.
Did she call the police? Is that why?
She hollered to her mother to call the police.
Why?
I have no idea.
Oh wow. Okay.
She wouldn't let him leave because she had the 2 boys in her hand, standing right behind his car in the parking lot, and he couldn't move. He was asking her politely to move. She refused. Right. And then towards the end of the video, they went in looking into his car, and it was obviously another child in his car, and they start questioning the baby. Who are you? What's your name? What's your mother's name?
No.
I'm going to tell the police that you have this child in the car by himself. That the man never left the vehicle.
Oh, wow.
The area of the vehicle.
Wow.
It was just, for me, too much. But what I found interesting about that was there was a couple of women who commented on the stream, on my stream as well as the main video stream.
Okay.
Kind of like justifying the whole thing. Yeah. And I'm like, wow, family, when do we get there? How is that type of communication healthy, and how do you justify that with those children suffering the most?
And see, and that's probably not the worst that they've seen.
Right.
Because those two are not together. Those kids have probably seen some serious blow-ups. Because it sounds like she do not know how to de-escalate her own self. Like, to kind of calm herself down. To say, you know what? You should not have done that. In the future, you know, you're supposed to talk to me first before you make any, I guess you consider that a major decision. The hair will grow back. But that memory and that trauma that you are putting on those kids will not. You know what I'm saying? It will stay with them.
And it goes into, for me, something you brought up recently about how the children have to choose sides.
Oh, yeah.
In those type of instances.
Yeah. I say that to anyone who's struggling with co-parenting. I always say that once you put kids in a situation, and I know this from my own observation from when my son was younger, because when I got divorced the first year was a little bit rough. It was a little bit rough, rightly so. No, but I am glad that we did not go any further than a year. You know, it's like throughout the whole thing, because I felt like both of us did some hurt to each other. But for me, I'm like, because I instill hurt, it is also my duty to humble myself. And so where there is no fight, do not create one. And you consistently and keep doing that. After a while, because a lot of stuff that one thing that I realized, a lot of things we get ourselves into, it really falls on us. We can control a lot of situations we get ourselves into. We can either decide to stay in those situations and let them escalate, or we can remove ourselves from it.
Right.
And just completely just de-escalate. So for me, once I noticed, I think one time my ex-husband and I were talking to each other and it got loud. And once I saw my son, and he was probably like 2 at the time, once I saw my son try to get in it, like, okay. I said, absolutely not. This cannot happen. That is not what he is supposed to be doing or trying to do. Kids should not be trying to referee anything, and they should not be witnessing that. So from that day forward, I made it my business. Like, yes, I know we're going to clash. To this day, we co-parent very well. But we have those days that we just don't see eye to eye.
Right.
But once I saw that, and I'm like, okay, my son felt like I have to choose. So that's when it came to me, and I've seen it over and over, that kids, when they're in the middle, they will choose a side. It is not personal to any one parent. They just will choose a side because that's their way of maintaining peace. You know what I mean? I'm going to be loyal to this person. And kids should never be put in that position.
I agree. So you basically, in your personal situation, you put the child's best interest first.
Absolutely. And you know what? To this day, I think I joke with you all the time. To this day, my son is comfortable with when he's boasting about one parent to the other. You know, like there was a phase he went through. Okay. He went through this daddy phase. And I always say he's a daddy's boy. But he went through this phase where it was like, I like daddy a little bit more. You know, I wasn't offended, and I was really happy and proud of us as parents that we have created a safe space around our child and insulated him to that degree to where he's confident enough to know that I could say this to my mom about my dad because they get along. Like she's not going to be mad at me for saying it or angry at my dad. I was very proud of that. You know what I mean?
Right. And you know what else comes to my mind as far as choosing sides? Because it not only does the children choose sides, but we choose sides as adults too, as far as parents. I think about my own parents.
Okay.
And they were divorced when I was maybe about 15.
Okay.
Woo! That was devastating for me.
You were big.
Woo, that was devastating. But nevertheless, and they went through a rough period too in the initial beginning of their separation. But they got it together, and after that, it was great. When because we're a pretty big family. It was 8 of us growing up immediate. I had like 15 brothers and sisters. My mother, father had 8 together.
Okay.
We do a lot together. We vacation together. You know, at one point we all lived in the same city or surrounding city, and we did a whole lot more than now. But nevertheless, at that time we were together a lot, and for family events. And my mother would bring her new friend, and my father would bring his new wife, and it would be all family. And I think about going back to your point of choosing sides. If that was not the case,
right,
and there was a family gathering, birthday, whatever, I would have had to decide which family member, which one of them, my mother or my father, do I want to invite? Because if they came together, they're going to fight or clash, or it's going to be the energy going to be.
There you go. There you go. Yes.
As adults as well.
Yeah.
And it's a shame that we're not disciplined enough or can see enough what we do with our own children and how it affects us for the rest of our lives.
And you have to really put yourself aside.
Yeah.
You really do, and I think that's hard for other people, because what can happen is that people can get hurt, right, in relationships and marriages or whatever. And we're asking a lot, because we're asking them to do this co-parenting thing while also still processing the hurt.
Yeah.
So what happens is one thing trickles over into the other, the hurt trickles into the co-parenting. And people don't really know how to separate the two.
Right.
So they bring all of that emotion into the co-parenting. So any little thing that happens, it ends up being blown up. You know what I mean? So, but for me, consistency is key. Like, today, you guys may not get it right. You have a blow up. Apologize. Push through it. It gets better. You know, just yesterday, my and she came in probably 2 years after our divorce. My ex-husband's girlfriend. And because we are so serious about co-parenting, like, you sign on. Like, it's like a real thing. Like, I'm holding you accountable.
Yeah.
I have expectations of you as a stepmother. Same here. You know what I mean? You should not be allowing me to abuse my privilege as a parent. You know, you should keep me in check. She sent me a text yesterday, a certificate my son got in school, because she's excited about it, because we've been kind of having some issues with him in school. It gets better. You know what I mean? I don't have to sit down and have lunch with this lady every week. But what I have to do is know her enough, because she is helping raise my child, whether I accept it or not, whether I like it or not, because that is who his dad have chosen. And I don't trust her simply because she's trustable. I trust her indirectly. I trust her because I trust my ex-husband.
Right.
And I know that he will not bring someone
Right.
that would be detrimental to my child around him. And it's the same way with him. He expects the same thing from me. So like I said, you're persistent, but being persistent is key, and just being consistent with what you do, it gets better. But what we also have to do is, your issues within yourself is separate from that, and you have to deal with it accordingly. Go get yourself some help. Because once you start to deal with your own stuff, you realize that the co-parenting gets easier.
Good points. You guys are just joining us. We are talking about relationships 101, unresolved issues. Call in. The number is 240-455-5934. We would love to hear your voice. And if you have a comment
we have a question,
and we don't get to you, call us 240-455-5934.
Yeah, we have a question from Spud West. Hey, Spud.
Hey,
He said, how y'all feel about parents showing favoritism with their children? Have you ever observed that? I've seen it.
I'm gonna say this.
Oh boy, go for it.
And
this is what we do. This is what we do. Go for it.
I think that whole thing with parents that say I don't have a favorite, and I love all my children equally, and da 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 da. I don't believe that.
No.
I don't believe that. I think we say that because it's the right thing to say, and we don't want to offend or hurt, our children, our siblings, naturally so. But I don't think that it's possible to have multiple children and you love them all equally.
And they're all different.
And then every last one of them have a different personality, a different characteristics, different traits. Some of them, some may be, anyway, I just think that is a bunch of baloney.
Yeah.
Now, with that being said, should you outwardly show that can be dangerous. That could be dangerous because the other child or children feel that.
Absolutely.
Whether you verbalize it or not. So I think we need to be more careful and more cautious as parents as to how we interact with our children when we're all together with them.
Yeah.
I really do.
I think that encourages which sibling rivalries there anyway, but I think it takes it to another level.
Yeah.
Because it's not just the kid who is sort of being pushed aside that notices. The kid who is being favored also notices it, and they can't help it.
Yeah.
It's not their fault.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's like, I'm not doing anything special for you. Both of us are your children.
And they will oftentimes get shade just shot for doing nothing.
Yeah.
For doing nothing from the other siblings.
Yeah.
Because they are the parents' favorite.
And also too, sometimes people, again, we go back to relationships and hurt. Sometimes the child that looks like that person. And that's unfortunate. You know, sometimes the child that looks like the father or whoever, you know, and there's so many dynamics around favoritism, Spud. Because what I also realized too is that self-hate is serious. So let's say you have a mother or a father that have 2 kids. Because this can happen because genetics is funny, right? So one kid, let's say the mother already have issues with her skin color.
Yeah.
Let's say she's a darker sister and she's been teased all her life.
Right.
One of the kids come out darker. The other one come out maybe a little bit brown, like the dad or something. The favoritism could go towards, you know, the one who is lighter. It has nothing to do with any of them. It has more to do with the individual because they haven't really addressed their own self-hate.
Right.
So the child that looks more like them, they take issue with, you know, like they nitpick everything. You know what I mean? So it's a real thing. Favoritism in families is a real thing.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah,
That's a whole
I'm
other
not
topic in and of itself. The whole light skin, dark skin dynamic.
Oh, colorism, absolutely.
And we did a show on that
Yes.
one time last year.
Yes,
Yeah,
colorism is a real thing.
Very eye-opening
Yeah.
for me. Because,
Yeah.
it was like, you know, okay,
Yeah.
I knew it exists, but whoa, you know what I'm saying? I think, you know, a lot of times if we don't have to deal with it directly, you know what I'm saying, in our own personal lives, it's easy to not, you know, forget about it or not understand it or don't even attempt to understand it.
Or don't even believe it.
Yeah.
That's even happening.
Like racism, for example.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? We try to attempt to make other people who aren't black feel our plight and see our pain and understand where we're coming from. And a lot of times they don't live our life.
And that's why I've learned to just say, like going forward, whenever something comes up and it's a conversation that's happened and I cannot relate, I will probably say, well, that has not been my experience. You know what I mean? Because you do not want to minimize somebody else's experience by totally saying that's not true.
That's right.
Not because it's not true for your life and for your experience, mean that it's not true for a whole bunch of other people.
And we do that a lot.
Yes, we do.
We do that a lot to where it's like we compare our own personal lives to the overall experience. It's like, well, I never had to deal with that, or when I was growing up, it was like this. It's like, okay, well, that was when you were growing up.
Yeah.
We're talking overall, you know. Oh.
My mom actually said that's not true to what you said. She said, I'm a mother and I don't have any, I love all my kids equally.
Okay, Mom.
How come I did not believe you, Mom? Okay?
Okay,
So,
Mom.
yeah. But yeah, but even like the relationship piece with, like, you know, with the colorism and stuff like that as well, you know, where people choose partners based on their own self-hate too. You know, and I always say we got to be careful when we choose people based on those things, because once you begin to heal in those areas, you're gonna wake up one day and be looking like, why are you here? You know, I no longer have any need for you. Why are you even here? You know what I mean? So when you're choosing, like I always say, when you make those type of decisions, hopefully it's not from a place of like deficit. You know, because there is a possibility for healing to happen while you're still evolving. And so what happens then?
Right.
And people get, you know, we toss the people to the side left and right. I mean, the divorce rate is extremely high. You know, in America, period.
Right.
Not just black people, you know.
Right.
So.
I got another topic I wanted to broach about mixed interracial relationships.
Ooh.
And I was listening to, I caught some of the Michael Baston show.
Okay.
He's syndicated. I think he comes in a lot of different cities on the radio.
Yeah.
He's here in D.C. And he had a show on yesterday about that. And he had people call in. What is your take on dating interracially? I think this whole wedding thing had something to do with why this is in the tops of everybody's mind here lately. We did a show on that too.
Yes. Yes.
But anyway, and there was a woman who called in that stands out to me. She called into the station and said that she was married 3 times, all 3 to black men. She's a black woman. But now she has decided in her life that she is dating only white men.
She's trying something different.
Yeah, but she said specific. She don't want. That's it.
That's what I'm saying. She's trying something different now.
What do you say to those people who have just decided, you know what, I am not dating anybody else but white people exclusively?
What do I say to them? Sorry to hear that. Because I haven't walked in their shoes. I really haven't. And that's the part I try to have a little bit of empathy around that. I have an issue, and I hear what you're saying, exclusively. Where they're exclusive with it. Like, this is all that I'm dating.
Right.
But this is a woman that have been married to,
3 times.
Right. It's but the common denominator is her.
And that's something that didn't come up in that conversation, because they held her on because they really wanted to dig a little more into why she felt that way. And nobody brought that up. It's like, okay, well, who... Because we automatically assume, oh, she got dogged out by all these men. And It's like...
So the whole entire... all of the black men in the world, and it's a lot of them with their beautiful selves, but all the black men in the world have to suffer because of 3 black men that she dealt with and her poor decision making. Yeah, I'm going to say it. 3 times? Well, go ahead. You struck out anyway. So, yeah. If she... if she says that, I would probably just say, I'm so sorry to hear that, sis. But I would also want to know why. And because there's always a story behind it. Yeah. And all of us don't deal with hurt differently. Some of us, we respond to hurt in an extreme way. Yeah. We go to the other, like the extreme side of it. Yeah. Some of us, we process it and we move on. Right. My entire dating career, and it hasn't been that deep, but I've only dated black men. Have I been hurt? Yeah. But I've hurt too. I've hurt them too. I'm not sure that I've ever had a thought of going to the other side at all. Why not? I'm not attracted to them. Them, all caps. Yeah. Yeah. I really am. I love black men. Yeah. And don't get me started on why, but I just love black men, and that's it. It could just be the way I grew up. It could be what I was exposed to. I don't know, but I just love black men, and I appreciate them, and I celebrate them even in their weaknesses, because I have them too as a black woman. Yeah. And to saying that, I was talking to you earlier about the store I was in today. So I went to a store today to get some African fabric. And there was a sister in there, black sister, and there was a brother in there. He could have been Dr. Baruch's cousin. He looked like them. But sitting on the back side of her. Okay. And just chill, and letting her do her thing and buy her stuff quiet. And somehow the conversation got into, the lady was selling waist beads. And she was asking about waist beads. So we were talking about them in the store. And the lady was just telling her what they're good for. The lady was Nigerian. And the guy is just sitting there, and I said, so eventually she's like, oh, I do know what waist beads are, And I said, so why you acting like you don't know what waist beads are? So she proceeds to say, well, he bought them for me. So that right then I was like, that might be her boo or her husband. But okay. The conversation then goes further, and the way she began to talk about men, I had to question who the guy was. I had to then ask, is that your husband? She was like, no. That's your boo? Yes. So it got into all men cheat. At that moment, I had to step in. I had to step in. I could not stand by and just have her talk about all black men. I was like, well, hold up now. There are some good brothers out there that's not living like that. That's not just out there wild and doing whatever. They are just like we know women who are not living like that. There are men that are not living. And the guy put up his little finger and said, I don't cheat. She then turns around and says, oh, yeah, he's a good man. How can you have a good man?
But she was the one that said all men cheat?
Yes. She and the Nigerian lady who was old, I was so disappointed in her because she was an elder. I was like, that is bad advice.
An older person.
An older woman.
Yeah, because the difference between an older person and an
elder. Older person. There you go. Thank you. Thank you for the correction. So she was talking and saying that the guy behind her raised his hand and said, I don't cheat. And she's like, well, yeah, he's a good guy. I was then confused. You have a good brother with you sitting there, but quiet, but dogging men.
And putting all that out in the atmosphere.
Right. So she was like, if they can't take care of me, I had to end up like talking to her for a minute. And then while I was talking to her, you saw the brother shaking his head. Like, I'm glad somebody telling her, because
he was agreeing with
he was agreeing with me. Like, he felt like, I'm glad I'm not alone, because I think he felt outnumbered. It was 3 of us, and it was just him.
Right.
You know, and the other Nigerian guy was in the back. But he didn't want any part of the conversation. He just was looking at her and shaking his head. And my mother was like, she is getting dumped tonight. Tonight. She will be dumped tonight. Her status, her Facebook status is about to change to single tonight.
That goes back to another point. I don't think we as women recognize our own power. We abuse and misuse our own power.
Yeah.
As it relates to relationships.
We don't know it. We don't know it. We don't know our power beyond the power that we've been told, which exists between our legs. We don't know ourselves as women beyond that. We don't understand that if something is to, God forbid, destroy the yoni tomorrow, you're still going to be a woman. That is not where your essence lies.
Yes.
It's important, it's sacred, and it can do some healing if you know what you're doing, but it's not all there is to your womanhood.
Yeah.
And I think that's the issue. We don't know our power.
We don't.
Yeah.
And a good point is going right back to the initial discussion we had about the lady with her co-parenting with the 2 children. And my mind goes to, I wonder what could have happened in that scenario where they didn't even have to get to that point at all. Why is so many of us out here co-parenting? Why is that now the new tagline for? Oh,
I see what you're saying.
For relationships.
Yeah. You mean with the breakdown of the relationship?
The breakdown
have been
of the
avoided.
whole family unit.
Yeah.
It's like we don't even discuss that. It's like,
and because we don't discuss it, it keeps happening.
Yeah.
Because if you don't
like single mothers.
Yes. If you don't discuss it, then you cannot address your contribution to it.
Come on, Hanika. Teach
You're not going to acknowledge your child, and if you don't acknowledge your contribution, because any breakdown in a relationship, there are 2 people involved.
That's right.
I don't care if your contribution to it was 2% and theirs was, you know what I'm saying, the 98. It doesn't matter. You contributed.
Right.
So if you don't check that 2% that you contributed in yourself, you're going to take it into another relationship. There is going to be another breakdown as well.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Then it becomes generational. So now it becomes, you know what I'm saying? My grandmother raised my mother alone.
So I can do it.
My mother raised me alone.
Yes.
I'm raising my children alone. But we never stop to be like, hold up, pause. That's not a good thing.
Thank you. I just had this conversation with a friend the other day, and you know, sometimes as black women, because of what we've seen, vulnerability is an issue for us. We do not do vulnerability well. We do not like to be vulnerable. We don't like to be seen as vulnerable. There's a toughness that comes with being a black woman, and that's why I do not. I don't subscribe to the whole strong black woman way of idea. I just don't, because I think it's a mask. Because I think we need to allow ourselves space to be weak sometimes, and that's okay. There's nothing wrong with it. There's beauty in weakness sometimes, right? So I personally, like, I had a conversation with a friend, and that's what we talked about. I was able to say to her, I look around me and I see the women who are getting older and they have no one, and the kids are raised, and I don't want that for myself. Now, does it mean that I have to change who I am for someone else? Like, to maintain that? No, I don't believe in that. But I do need to work on myself while I'm by myself, so that when I have someone in my space that's good, that may have some weaknesses or some challenges, I don't just run for the hills because my mom raised me by herself, so I could do this by myself. I don't want that for myself. I don't want to be old, and let me get are we getting this on camera? I don't want to be old. I do not desire to be old and lonely. I want a partner. I want someone to grow old with. Look.
He got real close. That's what you know. It's a trend now. That
we've made it okay.
It's cool to be by yourself, and it's cool. You know what I'm saying? You single. You by yourself. Ain't nothing wrong with that. Is that cool?
So singleness is like if you don't want to be single, and that's the other part of it. If you really don't want to be single deep down inside, and you really want to find someone, and you really want to grow old with someone, stop pretending that you are okay with being single, because the universe, okay, is responding to that energy that you're putting out. So
That's
you
right.
constantly being negative. Well, I don't need no man, and if they don't, and this is the neck rolling and all of that. Like if they don't come correct, then I don't want them. I could do bad on them. All of these things. That's okay. It's okay to acknowledge that there are not so good men out there. But more importantly, you need to be honest about what you are looking for, so that you can attract that to yourself. Start speaking life
into it. And because I'm wondering, is that even natural? Is it a natural
to be alone?
existence to want to be alone? Everything in nature has an equal part. A mate, a
Some
share.
people don't desire it though.
Is it natural?
I don't know. What do
You
you
know what I'm
think?
saying?
I don't know.
I mean, even people who don't subscribe to the traditional husband and wife are still looking for another partner. You know what I'm saying? It may not be a husband, it may not be a wife. So it's like, in my mind, I'm like, is that going against the laws of nature? When you be like, you know what I'm saying, I don't want nobody, I'm good, I'm single, I'm alone, I'm solo, I'm gonna solo this thing on out.
All the way out.
I don't know. I question if that's even logical. So let me go into some of the things that we do here at Everlasting Life. We are at 9185 Central Avenue in Capitol Heights, Maryland. Everlasting Life is a full-service vegan restaurant and lounge, and we do so many things here at the lounge area, such as Everlasting Life is one of 3 locations. There's 2 other restaurants. They both are located within the Tacoma Park section of Washington, D.C. You have Vigoritos as well as Evolve. That also has a lounge and an open bar for you guys, happy hour folk. Back here at Everlasting Life, we do what is every Thursday. We do children's night. Children eat free, 12 and under, as long as they are accompanied by a paying adult. Bring them on out and let them eat a good, wholesome, healthy food free of charge. And not only do they eat free, but then they come and they join other children. It becomes a big playroom in the lounge. They have a really good time. And that's from 6 to 8 p.m. every Thursday night. Following that up is our dinner and a movie each and every Friday from 7 to 9 p.m. We pull the screen out, we dim the lights, we turn all the music and TVs off, and it becomes a theater. And so we air different movies, documentaries, and then we have a discussion that follows every movie. Very informative information. I always learn something during those discussions. Because you get different perspectives from different points of view, and I always like the discussion part. This Friday, we're going to be airing Brother Imhotep's documentary about fatherhood.
Oh, really?
Yes,
okay, cool.
About the pain and passions of Black fatherhood, Black parenting. Yes. Okay. So that's going to, I previewed it as powerful.
Yeah,
powerful.
okay.
So come on out and join us for that. Each and every first Saturday of the month is the Black Wall Street Renaissance. We host vendors as well as different hosts. People come and join us at the on stage. So we do have Cicely this first Saturday. She is a singer-songwriter, young woman, beautiful voice. So she'll be here. Her performance starts at 3:30. All day shopping from 12 to 6. That's every first Saturday. Black Wall Street Renaissance. If you're interested in vending, join us online, bwsr.eventbrite.com. And every third Saturday of the month, where's Chris when we need her? Every third Saturday of the month is the marketplace here. So if you're interested in fresh groceries and produce and herbs and spices, things of that nature, you can get them all here. Third Saturday of every month. That runs from 11 to 4 p.m. And if you're interested in vending for that particular marketplace, call us here at Everlasting Life and we'll get you hooked up. And okay, going back into discussion. I also
So,
wanted to make a quick mention.
Oh yeah, that's coming up.
Meet the candidates. So the county executive candidates that are, they both are running for county exec seats. They're going to be discussing their candidacy and taking your questions. That's Monday, May 28th. This coming Monday at 7 p.m. right here at Everlasting Life, 9185 Central Avenue in Capitol Heights, Maryland. Come meet your county executive candidates. All right?
When we were discussing singleness, what part of what came to my mind, because we're talking about unresolved issues, I think that when we find ourselves single for whatever reason, right, and we're talking about your contribution to the breakdown of the relationship, I think it's very important as women that we take that singleness seriously. I think it's important that we take that time to work on ourselves, the areas that probably need to be worked on that we can probably grow in. I think it's important. I think you could take that time to even start to get in tune with yourself. I know for myself, when I got separated and I went into a different apartment, that was my main focus. Like, I cherished that place just because of that. Because of my own experiences with myself. In that, and that was like a year and a half that I had to do that. I was still going to work and, but I took the time to read, to research, to be able to be honest with myself, and sometimes when you start to tune into yourself, you can be so honest with yourself that you hurt yourself. You're like, ooh,
I did that.
I was so ugly. Why did I do that? So, but it's a part of it, because if shame on you if you are leaving out of relationship after relationship and you are not growing and you're not getting anything from it and you're not doing the work on yourself
and blaming other people for the issues. And I'm so glad you mentioned that, because we hear all the time, love yourself, do the work on yourself. You know what I'm saying? But a lot of people don't even know what that looks like. What that means. How do you do that?
I was just having that conversation with a friend, and that's exactly what I said. I said, it's like, oh, I've been single 2 years, and it's like, well, what have you been doing? You're not traveling, you're not seeing the world, you're not finding ways to build yourself, to progress, like any of that. You're just chilling. I'm single,
And the difference is, a good example would be, you got a 2-year bit. You got locked up for 2 years. And people do this all the time.
All the time.
And the difference between somebody who took that 2 years, educated themselves,
you can tell the difference,
mastered a trade or whatever, and they really focused in while they were there on bettering themselves, versus somebody who just was out on the yard watching TV every day, kicking it, pumping weights, which nothing wrong with that. But I'm just saying, and then really them two people being released back out, and the difference in their life. You
can tell the difference.
The difference in their life versus
in their walk,
just based on what they chose to do with themselves in that 2 year.
You can tell.
That's working on self and building self up and being better. And I don't think we really understand that our whole lives become better. But that's when we do that work.
I think because of that work, it's very difficult for me to get into the male bashing conversations. Only because of that. Because it's very difficult. I cannot I cannot join those conversations. If I'm joining, I'm the voice of reason probably.
Good point.
Because my thing is let me reel you back in, because if you're talking to me like the sister you had gave the example, and you're like, I dated black men the whole time, and I'm like, how many? And you're like, 6. And they were long-term relationships or just short. And I will look at you and say, now I'm interested in what's really going on with you. Not the 6 men that you said did you wrong. I'm now interested in what's happening with you, because I believe in personal accountability.
And that's, for me, is a good indication when I'm having a conversation with somebody, if they are in tune with themselves.
Absolutely.
If you're always telling me what the other person did wrong, and you don't ever take any responsibility or accountability or how you contributed to the outcome of that situation, whatever it is, that lets me know, just based on conversation, that this person isn't in tune with themselves.
It's like the woman who is arguing with a guy all the time, and he's hitting him with a hanger, right? He hasn't done anything. And the minute he takes her and restrain her, and possibly maybe left like a finger mark or something, she calls the police, press charges and everything. And she's telling that story. And she said, you know, I'm the victim of domestic violence.
Or he made me do it.
No.
He made me hit him.
No, right. No, not even that. But it's like she becomes the victim.
Yeah.
But he was a victim before you call the police. You know what I mean? So sometimes I like to, I usually, and I'm not an advocate of domestic violence, but I'm hearing too much stories, and I'm like, it sounds like y'all just had a straight up brawl. Like y'all had a fight. Like this wasn't a situation to where he choked you out. You were like truly, like, no, you were throwing pots.
Right.
And everything
before,
you know.
I hear a lot of, oh, she made me do it, or he made me do it.
Yeah,
it's like
he got me so upset.
Upset. It's like you don't have self-control.
But that's the other part. I was just going to say that in our relationships, a lot of times, women and men, we lack self-discipline because we haven't taken the time to even to work on self. But I also think a lot of it too is like unresolved emotional issues and unresolved mental issues, to be honest with you.
Ma'am,
and we don't talk about that enough. But there are people in relationships with people who they have mental issues and they don't realize that's what they're dealing with.
That's it.
You know, or like people have been abused out here as children, and because it has never been addressed. Now you're dealing with that person, because the reality is this: the level of intimacy that you may find in most marriages, it's going to begin to bring to surface a lot of things. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yes.
It's just the truth.
Yes.
And you're either going to deal with them or you're not. And that's tuning into not just yourself, but your partner. Yeah. So where you can look at them and say, I think you need to probably seek some help. I'm here, I'm going to support you, but I think you need to seek some help. You know what I mean? Or get out of there.
Yeah, and I think what else? The other thing we do is that there's so many of us walking around here with mental issues that it becomes normal.
It's normal.
It becomes normal. It's like, ain't nothing wrong with me. My neighbor, my coworker, people at church, they behave the same way I do. So what are you saying? Something, this ain't right.
You see how you talked about the lady earlier, the video?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's the other part of it too. We teach our children how to do relationship. We teach them that.
Oh, no doubt.
We teach them how to problem solve, how to resolve conflict. They're watching us. And that is why the whole co-parenting dynamic is so important if it comes to that. Yeah. Forget even just co-parenting. What about while you're in the relationship, before you even get to where you have to now co-parent? Right. What are you doing? Because you're teaching those children that woman who is emasculating her husband or her man in front of her children, boy children and girl children, you're teaching them, you're modeling for them how to do relationship. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. That man who he just talks down to the woman, or he doesn't compliment her, or he's in the home but he's really absent, because there's a lot of fathers out there like that. Right. You know, this thing about you need fathers in the home. No, I need present fathers in the home. I need engaged fathers in the home. It's beyond, it's more than just being in the home. Right. Even though that has some effect, I need you to be present. Right. Right. You know, because there are absent fathers who are right there living in their home, but they're not there emotionally, they're not available to their kids, some of them not even physically. Yeah. So you're teaching your children, this is what is okay. Yeah. This is how you do this. This is what being a woman in a relationship looks like, you know? Yeah. And it's nothing, when you see women come up and they're so like aggressive, that didn't fall in their lap. That's right. It came from somewhere. Somebody modeled that behavior for them. Yeah. You know, and I feel like once you get to a place where you know better, there's a lot of undoing that has to happen. And that's a painful process. Yeah. Because we hold on to a lot of things that is like, well, this is who I am. But it's bad for you and everybody around you, sis. Let that go. Like, you're killing all of us. Like, I need you to let us live. Let that go.
I don't care.
That's who I am.
What nobody else think about me. But it's like,
I've always been like this.
Don't you want to be better?
Right.
Don't you want to be better? Right. For not just for you, but like you said, for your children and for your relationship. Yep. Because that's my question. It's like, how do we fix these unresolved issues so we don't have to co-parent?
Take time.
So we don't have to raise children alone.
We have to take time. And again, it goes back to, what do you want? What do you want? For me, if I have another child, I would like it to be within the context of marriage preferably,
Yes.
but within a committed relationship, because there are committed relationships out there hanging on longer than marriages, so I ain't even knocking that. I am not even knocking it. So if we have a commitment before ourselves and the Creator, even though we didn't have any witnesses,
Yeah.
I'm good. I would have another kid within that context.
Yeah.
That's it. But that's because when you know better, you do better.
That's a good point.
You understand what I'm saying? So,
a good
but
point.
that takes being honest. It's what happens. The normalization is an issue, because what happens to us is that our grandmother did it, our mothers did it, our sisters and our brothers are doing it, and therefore, who are we to say we want different? It almost makes us feel like we're saying we're better. Well, yeah. In that sense, yes. You should want better. Exactly.
Than your parents. That's
Exactly.
the whole point of evolution, evolving
Exactly.
into better and greater heights.
Exactly. You have to be honest and say, I don't want to ever go through that again.
Yeah.
When I come into another relationship, I want to come in as a whole individual.
Yes.
I'm not coming in looking for anyone to complete me. I'm not coming in looking for anyone to heal me. That's another problem too. We do this rebound thing. You know, can you please be my savior?
Yeah.
And both men and women do this. You know what I mean? Because a lot of men internalize their pain.
Yeah.
They ain't touching it.
Yeah.
They don't even want to feel it.
Yeah.
And a lot of us, we sit in our pain, and it's like we don't know how to come out of it.
Yeah.
So we exist in the pain. You ever talk to someone and about relationships, and you're like, well, okay. Yeah. When they're talking, you're just like, why are you so mad?
Yeah.
Like, you're really angry. And you know what disappoints me? When it's someone that's older
And you
and
know
they've
what
been
else
single for a long time.
And what I see a lot is other people looking for sympathy for their wrongdoings.
Yeah, and
from other
justification.
people.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm dealing with this and da. I'm thinking to myself, but you created this scenario. Why now are you looking for somebody else to feel sorrow for you when you created the whole mess you find yourself in?
But going back to how do we resolve that is we need to take time.
Yeah.
We need to take time in between relationships. Like we really just do. It's like,
Yeah.
let me stop, let me
Yeah.
check myself and see what's going on with me.
Yeah.
However long that takes you to do that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We also need to learn how to be friends with people, which requires discipline.
Yes, because my question is, why do we have so many children with different mothers and different fathers? And that
Like,
goes
do you have to bring a child into every relationship you go into?
Why do we do that?
I don't know, because I don't. So I don't. I don't.
Family, why do we do
Why
that?
do we do that, family? Why do women and men,
Yeah.
every person that it seems like every person that they're with, they end up having a child with? Like, there are ways to avoid that situation.
Yeah.
Why don't we take precautions, especially knowing that the other one or two situations were not the best?
Right.
Why would you then?
Right. And then you find, we find ourselves 4, 5, 6 different parenting, all these different children, and all the different fathers or more mothers sometimes
There's a
are
lot.
nowhere to be found.
That's a lot. That's like when Iyanla did that show with that brother that had like 20-something kids.
Yeah.
With a bunch, I think it was like maybe 8 women.
And that goes back to having no accountability for self, because after 2 times now, you're doing it again, third time and the 4th time, it's like, well, wait a minute now. How you cannot keep blaming the other person for doing this.
Yeah.
When are you taking the when are you going to stop and say, well, wait a minute, this ain't cool.
Yeah.
These children should need better, need more.
Right. And there's nothing with sitting it out until you find better. There's not a problem with that.
Yeah.
Sit it out until you find better. And if you really need male presence in your life to that degree, like, hang out with people. It don't even have to be anything personal or intimate. You can hang out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We can.
What's the rush?
Right. My thing is, we can love people and each other beyond physical intimacy.
But
We can do that.
Yeah, and I think that's a generational cycle too. Because
Yeah.
I think if you don't have the solid family unit growing up,
Where did you learn that?
and you're looking all the whole time you're seeking that out.
What
it's
do you-
like a
yeah.
hole that you're looking to fill,
Mhm.
and you do it sometimes with other people, through sexual means, through, you know what I'm saying, trying to hold on to people who aren't good for you, and
Right.
all that stuff.
And some
comes into
people have
play.
some people have seen, like some guys have seen
Physical
their dad
abuse.
use his penis to get what he wants,
Yep.
you know, and that is a thing,
Yeah.
especially if they know that they're well endowed.
The gigolo.
And
Ain't that what they call
I
it?
don't know.
Gigolo.
or some women have seen their mothers use
Same thing.
their
Do the same
yoni for
thing.
those specific purposes, and so that's, like I said, that's where they get the idea, this is where my power lies.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And when they meet men who ain't about that,
Yeah.
where they're looking for more than
They
that,
don't
and
know
they
what
look
to
if
do
they
with
do
them.
not know. First of,
They don't
they'll
know
call
what to
them
do
gay
with
in a minute.
Yeah.
He
Yeah.
gay.
Yeah.
No, maybe he wants more than what you used to offering.
And the man will normally abuse that woman in some emotionally, usually.
Yeah?
And if it's the other way around. If you're just used to easy women, or they're quick to jump in the bed with you, or you know what I'm saying,
Yeah.
and you find a woman who not
Okay.
in
okay.
that area, energy
You
area.
mean like verbally abuse?
Yeah,
Yeah.
you like, you don't know what to do with that, so you misuse and abuse that because you
Some people run.
you accustomed.
Yeah, some people run.
Yeah.
Some people don't want no part of it. Like
It's
you
a
could
mirror.
be, you can be not only a mirror. You could be in situations where it makes you so uncomfortable because it's so unfamiliar to you. Like someone who has never really felt loved,
Yeah.
and they meet someone and it's like, okay, this is a weird feeling. What is that? It's really love, but they've never really experienced it. Some people will run away from that. Some people will sabotage it.
That's my point.
Yes, some people will sabotage that.
That's my
yeah.
point.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have to be careful with self-sabotage, because it's like that means that if you are self-sabotaging everything, you don't need to be in nobody's relationship. None.
Yeah.
Just sit it out and deal with self.
Yeah.
And that's how we can kind of improve our relationships. People
Yeah.
need to take the time to really work on themselves.
And it starts right there.
It starts there.
Nobody else. We looking for everybody else to fix our issues.
Future generations are
don't work that
dependent
way.
on you. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And I the other day I thought about it. I thought about this. I was telling someone, I'm like, you know, you are where you're at because your great grandmother couldn't get the help she needed. Don't let it be said by your great grandchildren.
Teach on that.
Don't let that be said about you by your great grandchildren.
That's right.
So you are struggling right now because your great grandmother couldn't get the help she needed,
Wow.
which means it was passed down to your mother, and then
That's
she passed
right.
it down to you.
That's right.
So at some
And if you
point,
don't realize
Yeah.
the pattern, you'll pass it down to your children.
absolutely,
too.
and they'll pass it down to theirs, and then you'll be that great grandmother who didn't get it right, who didn't get the help she needed.
Good teacher.
Yeah.
Is that all right, Power?
Yeah, that's it. 301.
Family, does anybody else have anything they want
Oh,
to say on the stream?
Well, Kevin said, you sisters are fly. Well, thank you, Kevin.
Yeah.
I know. Now, Wasita said mental is a big part of the dysfunctionality.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
Spud was asking, do
Yeah.
y'all think white men and black men behave differently in a relationship as far as their approach to the relationship and their views on how a household should be run?
I
don't know. I have never dated a white man,
neither.
don't intend to, have no desire to.
Right.
So I wouldn't know that.
I don't know.
And I haven't done the research to do the comparison.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good question, though.
Yeah.
All right, so that's our Empower Hour. If anything that we said in this hour was informative and you think other people need to hear or should hear, share the video, family.
By
Share
all
it.
means.
We encourage you to share. Our goal is to get the message out far and wide, and we need your help to do that. We'll be right back with you next week. Actually, we're doing a relationship panel next week.
Yes.
Yeah, that should
A
be
full-blown, pretty diverse.
Yeah, it's a 2-hour special, by the
Yeah.
way, too. So that should be a good one.
Yeah, it's pretty diverse. We have
Yeah.
older, younger,
Yeah.
single, married.
Yeah.
So yes,
So
it's
yeah,
going to
we're
be
gonna
2
get it in.
hours. Yes, we are. I'm excited about that.
Okay, so
Yeah.
we will see you guys next week. And until then, take care. Peace.